if you're planning on selling your home, you are going to want to hear this. Because once you get that offer, there are a few things that can make or break your sale. Yes, there's the basic contingencies, the home inspection, the appraisals, the financing contingencies. But the last one on this list, you are definitely going to want to hear, because if you can prepare for it and be ready for it, it can save you a lot of stress and a lot of money. Hey everybody, I'm Jerry Norman with Oregon Life Homes. I've been helping people buy and sell real estate here in the Roseburg area for years. I absolutely love it. I get calls and questions all the time about buying and selling real estate. So this video, we are going to talk about contingencies and what they mean and how you can prepare for them as a seller. How they affect your timeline, how they affect your closing timeline, and what can happen if these contingencies are not met. And the last one is really important. They happen a lot right now, so it is really important to stay tuned to it. So with that, let's get on with the video. All right, so first off, what is a sale contingency? Basically, a contingency is a condition that is set by the buyer or the seller in some circumstances, and these conditions need to be met before the sale can close. Most of the contingencies are set by the buyer and protect the buyer, and these are very standard in a home sales transaction. It's basically to make sure that the buyer makes sure that everything checks out with the home. And the common ones are a home inspection. This is for the buyer to do their due diligence and to make sure that everything checks out with the property. Make sure that there's no hidden issues or any visual issues with the home. And because you are buying the home as is, and the buyer wants to make sure that the home is what they think it is. So that's what the home inspection is for. And they dive really deep into all the components of the home, from the roof to the crawl space. The components, heating, AC, hot water, electrical, goes through everything just to make sure that everything is up to par with the home, and so that the buyer knows what they're getting into, because really it's a lot of money. The next one is very similar to the home inspection, but it's an appraisal. And that is for the bank to make sure that the home is at value and it's worth what they're lending on. And there are some criterias that may not meet all the financing programs, such as VA, FHA, or whatever. Some are more lenient than others. And so that's what the appraiser does, is go out to make sure that the home is as value and is safe to live in for the buyer. And then next is the financing contingency. Now this one makes sure that the buyer can get the loan. So if we get all the way up to closing and the buyer loses his job, the bank isn't going to loan them the money. So that financing contingency has failed and the home probably will not sell to that buyer. And then of course there is the well and septic inspections. And this is if you're on a private system, the septic needs to be pumped, inspected, and these are small contingencies as well. Usually they don't throw up many red flags and there's rarely any issues with them. Same thing with the well. In the state of Oregon, the seller is required by law to test for drinkability, potability, and to make sure that it's safe to drink. And the buyer has the option to do a well flow test. And now this is all if you're on private wells. If you're in the city and on city water, then it's not an issue. So the home inspection is usually within the first 10 days or so of having an accepted offer. Same thing with the well and the septic. Those are all about within the first 10 days as well. Then there's also another one, and this is becoming more popular as well. We have a lot of buyers moving from out of area, and they are making offers pretty much sight unseen. However, they are getting maybe a video tour or looking at pictures or whatever, and they're making an offer, and they put in the contingency during their buyer inspection period. They are going to be able to view the home and be able to back out during the buyer's inspection after viewing the home. This is because we're marketing the property across the country and buyers are looking to move to this area, and because it's pretty competitive, these buyers are trying to make an offer and get it locked up and able to see the home before they purchase. So these are really common. It's kind of risky as a seller, but they do happen, and a lot of times these offers on paper look a lot better because it is more riskier for the buyer, or it is more riskier for the seller. So these are the minor contingencies that happen during a home sale. Now one, and this one is a big one, and they happen all the time, especially now. Now, about 3 or 4 years ago, these were highly uncommon because the market was so hot and there was a lot of competition and sellers didn't need to accept these. Now we have more properties on the market, less buyers, So these contingencies are happening a lot more often. And what are they? Well, it is a sale contingency. And that is the buyer of your home needs to sell their existing home first. They need to do this so they can close out the loan on that one, use their equity as a down payment for your home, and be able to get a loan on the new home. Now, they've already gone through their pre-approval process, but it's a contingent of their loan to be funded that they sell their existing home. This way, they don't have two home loans. And a lot of people can't qualify for two home loans, so that's why they do this. These are very common right now. The reason they are so common is because maybe they need to relocate from out of state and they're relocating here and they need to sell their home out of state before they move here. Now, as a seller, you're at less risk if they've already got an accepted offer on their home and they're in their escrow period and they have a set close date. Then it is less risky to accept that offer. And typically what I've seen is that these contingent offers, because they are risky for you as the seller, are typically higher priced. So you're going to get more money than somebody that is buying their first home because you're going to have to offer more closing costs and whatever to somebody buying their first home. And maybe that first time home buyer is going to offer you less than asking price. And typically what I've seen out of these contingent offers is they're really strong offers except for this sale contingency. And why are they stronger? Because they're somewhat risky for you as the seller because there are so many things that can go wrong. In a typical transaction, if you have a first-time home buyer buying your home, there are a lot of things that can go wrong with the sale. That would be the home inspection, financing, appraisals, all this. And there's a lot of things that can delay the process of closing. Well, multiply that times 2 if you accept a contingent offer. Now you're relying on all of that sale to work out perfectly, just like you are hoping that everything works out perfectly on your home sale. So there's a multitude of things that can go wrong when you're working with two different transactions, because basically there's 3 parties that are trying to buy and sell a home at the same time. You've got your buyer, and then they are selling to another buyer. So you've got buyer, seller, you, seller. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And if you prepare for these things and know what to expect, your stress and the amount of money you can save can be significant. And what are these? Well, first off, once you have a set closing date for your home, you probably already have a plan of what you're going to do when you have that sale, whether it be relocating across the country, whether it be moving down the street, or whatever. There's a lot of things that need to tie in. Maybe you have moving trucks, maybe you have hotel reservations or storage rentals that are all needing timelines. Well, these companies are all in the moving business, and so they understand that these contingencies can throw hiccups. So if you kind of let them know about your close date and that it's not set in stone, then you can have more leniency, because they understand that these contingencies need to be met and that there's a lot of things that can go wrong. So as long as these moving companies have you on the books as a tentative date and just need a more set date once we get closer, then it's going to cause you less stress in the long run. I've seen it a lot where there's a little hiccup and there's a delay in closing. Right now with the government shutdown, some of the appraisals have been running behind. Some of the appraisals have been running ahead of time. It's really strange. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and a lot of things that are out of your control, out of your agent's control, out of the other agent's control. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So as long as you understand these things, there are ways to protect yourself. But with the moving companies and all these third-party companies that you are going to be using, as long as they understand your situation, they are usually pretty open to your scheduling. I had a transaction last month. We were delayed by a week, and my sellers were moving to Washington once their house closed, but they needed to have their sale funded so they could pay for the moving trucks and the hotel stays and the storage units and get into their new place in Washington. Well, their buyer had a contingency to sell their home. Well, what happened? Their appraisal ran late and it came in under value. So that seller and their buyer needed to renegotiate a sale price because the appraisal came in low. Well, they got that taken care of. We were delayed by about a week, and the moving companies were already knew that we were extended, and they knew the situation, and it caused my seller a lot less stress. We got the earnest money released early because that buyer was still going to buy, because they had solidified that sale. The appraisal was met, and so there's no other contingencies. So their buyer risked their earnest money and released it to my seller, and that way my seller could pay for the moving trucks and pay for the storage units and get moved before the sale of their home. So it all worked out, and basically these contingencies happen, and to get the most amount of money for the sale of your home, maybe you need to take one of these contingencies on. Maybe you don't. Maybe you might get two offers and one is a contingency and one's not. But if you know what to look for and have somebody right in your corner that can help you do this, it'll save you a lot of stress, a lot of heartache, and a lot of time. Because in the grand scheme of things, moving is very stressful, especially if you're moving out of state or even just down the road. It's stressful because you have the sale of one house and then buying another house or whatever you're doing to get into the next house. It is extremely stressful. So if you have these timelines understood and the contingencies and what could go wrong, and have a backup plan if they do go wrong, it's going to save you a lot of heartache. And in the grand scheme of things, this is all within a few months, and in 1 or 2 years, you're going to look back and not even remember about most of it. So with that, if you are thinking about selling your home, or if you need to sell your home and buy a new one, feel free to give me a call, text, or email. All my contact info is in the description below. I'd love to help, and maybe you have your house up for sale right now and you have a question about these contingencies. I'm open to it. Give me a call, text, email. I'm happy to help. And with that, you guys have a great day and check out these other videos.